Hello students, in this video we are going to study the remaining part of the chapter number 6. The chapter name is Combustion and Flame. Class 8, Subject Science, NCERT. In the previous video of this chapter we had seen what is combustion, what is combustible substance or fuel. Then after we had seen what are the requirements for the combustion process, what is ignition temperature, what is inflammable substance, and how we can control the fire. So now let me start the remaining part of this chapter with types of combustion. So types of combustion. Bring a burning matchstick. You do not have to perform this activity. You had already noticed this one. You have to just recall this experience that when you will bring the burning matchstick near the gas or gas lighter near the stove, then in the kitchen, then after if we turn on the knob of the stove, it will burns rapidly. It will burns rapidly and produce heat and light. As from the stove the gas is coming out, this gas burns rapidly and it produces heat and light. So such kind of combustion is known as the rapid combustion. And there are substances like phosphorus which burns in the room temperature, in air at the room temperature. So the type of combustion in which the material suddenly burst or suddenly started burning into flames without the application of any apparent cause or without the application of any extra efforts. So such kind of combustion is known as the spontaneous combustion. Like here one example is already given to you, that is burning of phosphorus. It is the spontaneous combustion. It starts burning in air at the room temperature only. We do not need to give any extra effort, or we do not need to increase the temperature. So it is known as the spontaneous combustion. And here the third one is given to you. Third one example, we generally have fireworks on the festival days, and when the crackers is ignited, a sudden reaction take place with a evolution of heat, light and sound. So a large amount of gas is formed in the reaction, and in this reaction the gas is liberated, or you can say release, and such kind of reaction is known as the explosion. This explosion can also take place if the pressure is applied on the crackers. In the combustion, if the large amount of gas is formed or released, then such kind of reaction is known as the explosion. And in this combustion, with the heat, light and sound is also produced. Here one fact is given to you, that spontaneous combustion of coal dust has resulted in many disastrous fires in the coal mines. In the coal mines, the coal dust is there, and the spontaneous combustion of this coal dust result in disastrous or dangerous fire in the coal mines. And these spontaneous forest fires are sometimes due to the heat of the sun or due to lightning strikes. The spontaneous combustion take place in the forest, and because of that forest fires increases because of sometimes because of the heat of the sun, and sometimes because of the lightning strike. And however, the most of the times forest fires are due to the carelessness of human beings. Because of our carelessness, sometimes the forest fire increases. And it is important to remember that the campfire must be completely extinguished before leaving the forest after a picnic or a visit. If we went for the picnic or a visit, and there if we had done campfire, then after completing after extinguishing the campfire, then after only we have to leave the forest, because this may cause the forest fire. So we should not be careful. We have to keep this thing in mind. So these are the different types of combustion. Now the next one is flame and the different region in the flame. If we had observed an LPG flame, so now can you tell the color of the flame which you find on the gas stove of your house? You will find that it is somewhat blue in color, and Then after, recall the color of the burning of magnesium ribbon which you had seen in class 7. And if you do not have experience, then burning of the remaining items in the 6.2 table, here it is given to you whether these objects form the flame or not. And in the picture, the different kind of flames are shown to you. In this 6.8, the colors of a candle flame and the flame of a kitchen stove is shown to you. Here in this 3 picture, the first one shows the flame of kerosene lamp, the next one you can see that is the flame of the candle, and last one is the flame of the Bunsen burner. You can see the difference between these two. The color of the flame of Bunsen burner is blue in color. The flame of the kerosene lamp is bigger than the flame of the candle. So there is the difference between these flames of different objects. So after burning the some of the materials which are given to you in table 6.2, you have to record your observation whether the burning materials forms a flame or not. So now let me see what is there in this 6.2 table. The first one in that is candle. So candle will form the flame, as we know that candle forms the flame or burn with the flame. Then after, next one is magnesium, so it will also form the flame. Next is camphor, or you can say kapoor. We know this camphor by the name kapoor, so it will also burn with the flame. Next one is kerosene stove, so it will also form the flame. And last one is charcoal. So charcoal will not form flame, it will burn with the glow. So this is your observation. You can write this in your textbook. So now we had seen this difference in the flame. So now let we see the structure of flame and different parts of this flame. The structure of flame, for that one activity is given to you. For that you have to light a candle. Then after, you have to hold 4 to 5 centimeter long thin glass tube with a pair of tongs and introduce its one of end in the dark zone of the non-flickering candle flame, that means a steady flame. And then after, you have to bring a lighted matchstick near the other end of this glass tube, and you have to see the flame caught at this end of the glass tube after a while or not. And if this is happening, then what is that produce a flame, why the flame is produced over that. And you have to also notice the wax near the heated wick melts quickly. Here the picture is given to you. You have to hold the test tube like this with pair of tongs. You have to keep the one end of this test tube near the black color area of this candle flame, and on the another end you have to bring the lighten matchstick. And then after, you have to observe that on the other end, on this end, the flame is there or not. And then after, you have to notice that wax which is near this flame is started melting quickly. So this is because you will not observe that the flame appear near the end of the glass tube. The flame will appear over this, and the molten wax of the candle rises through the wick. Through this near wick, or through this near this black color object, it is known as the wick. The wax started melting faster and it vaporized, which gives a flame near the other end of the glass tube. And because of the vapor of this wax, you can see the flame on the other end of this glass tube. So the substance which vaporized during this burning gives the flames. In this case, wax starts vaporizing, so it will give the flame. And for example, kerosene oil and molten wax rises through the wick are vaporized. They start vaporized, that means they converted into vapor form, converted into gaseous form. So during this burning and form the flames, they will form the flames. And charcoal on the other hand does not vaporize, so it does not produce a flame. It does not vaporize, that's why we cannot see a flame in the burning process of charcoal. And in activity 6.5, could the vapor of wax coming out of the glass tube because of the flame produced. So yes, this is the reason why we can see the flame at the other end of the test tube, because of the vaporized wax. Now the another activity you have to do, when the candle flame is steady, you have to introduce, or you have to bring a clean glass plate or a slide into the luminous zone of the flame. That means yellow zone of the flame. Here it is shown to you. This one is the luminous zone of the flame. You have to bring this glass slide near this zone, and then after you have to hold it there for a pair of tongs, with the help of pair of tongs, for about 10 seconds. And then after you have to remove that, and you have to discuss your observation. So by bringing this glass slide near the flame, you will observe that a blackish ring is formed on the glass side, like this one. And this is because the unburnt carbon particles deposit on this glass side, and because of that it will look in black in color. And these carbon particles are there in the luminous zone of this flame. So this is reason why we can see this black ring on the glass slide. The same you have to do with the other part of the flame. Let me see that the circular ring, blackish ring, is formed on the glass plate or slide, so it indicates the deposition of unburned carbon particles which are present in the luminous zone of the flame. Then after you have to hold a thin long copper wire just inside the non-luminous zone of the flame for about 30 seconds. Here it is shown to you in this figure. Non-luminous zone, that means this zone just outer side of the flame. So here you have to hold the thin long copper wire for 30 seconds, and you have to notice that the portion of copper wire just outside the flame gets red hot. So does it indicate that the non-luminous zone of the flame has the high temperature? So yes, we can say that this part of the flame is the hottest part, and it has the highest temperature amongst all these three parts. So here in the next figure, the three different parts of the candle is shown to you. Candle is there. The least hot part, that is black in color, or innermost part zone of the unburnt wax vapor, is shown to you, which is black in color. Then after, the middle part is moderately hot, and it is middle zone of the partial combustion. Partial combustion is there, and it is yellow in color. And last one, that is hottest part of the flame, or you can say outer zone, and here the complete combustion take place, and the color of this zone is blue. So this is the different zones of the candle flame. This can be asked in the label the diagram. So you have to remember this diagram and different zones in the candle flame. And if you had noticed one, where is the practical example of this different zone of the candle is given to you. If you had noticed, then goldsmith blows the outermost zone of a flame with a metallic blowpipe for melting gold and silver. Here in the figure it is shown to you. He is blowing the outer part of the flame with metallic blowpipe to melt the gold and silver. So why do they use the outermost zone of the flame? So as we had seen, the outermost part at the highest temperature, so that he is doing this, and by this he can melt this metal like gold and silver faster as compared to the other part of the candle flame. So this is the different zones of the flame is there. Now next one is, what is a fuel? What is the ideal fuel, and which fuel we can choose for the various purposes? So now let me see what is fuel. So recall that the source of heat energy for domestic and industrial purposes are mainly wood, charcoal, petrol and kerosene. These are some of the examples. So this all substance which we are using for the source of heat energy at the domestic or industrial purposes are known as the fuels. And a good fuel is one which is readily available, it is cheaper, it burns easily in air at the moderate rate, it produces a large amount of heat, and it does not leave behind any undesirable substance. If a fuel contains this much quality, then we can say that this fuel is good fuel. And there is probably no fuel that could be considered as an ideal fuel, or the fuel in which we can find these all qualities. So there is impossible to have the ideal fuel, and we should look for a fuel which fulfills most of the requirements for the particular use. If we want for the particular use, then we have to choose the fuel according to that. And fuel differ in their cost, and some fuels are cheaper than the other ones. The price of these different fuels are different, and some are cheaper than the others, some are costlier than the others. So make a list of fuels familiar to you. You know the fuel, you have to make the list which you know the name, and you have to group the fuels according to their state, that is solid, liquid or gaseous. In the table 6.3, you have to write the name of the fuels which are there in the solid state, liquid state or gaseous state. One of the examples are given for all of this state. In the solid fuels, the coal is given to you. Other than coal, you can write wood, cow dung cake or dung cake. So these are the solid fuels. Next, in liquid fuel, kerosene oil is given to you. You can write also petrol and diesel. These are the examples of liquid fuels. In gaseous fuels, natural gas is given to you. You can write the example of biogas and LPG. These are the examples of gaseous fuel. So these are the different kinds of fuel. Now, how we can choose the fuel, or for what purposes we have to choose which fuel? So for that, fuel efficiency is there. So here one example is given to you. Suppose you were asked to boil a given quantity of water using cow dung, coal and LPG as the fuel. So which fuel would you prefer? Obviously you will prefer the LPG, because by this you can boil the water faster. So you may take the help of your parents and these three fuels produce the same amount of heat? So no, these fuels produces different amount of heat, and it will take also different amount of time to boil the water. In LPG, by using LPG, we can quickly boil the water as compared to the rest of the two. So the amount of heat energy produced on complete combustion of 1 kg of fuel is called its calorific value. The amount of heat energy which is produced by the complete combustion of 1 kilogram of fuel is called the calorific value of that fuel. And the calorific value of this fuel is expressed in a unit called kilojoule per kg. Here it is given to you. You have to remember this thing. The unit of this calorific value is kilojoule per kg, or you can say kilojoule per kilogram. It is denoted by kj per kg. And calorific value of some of the fuels which we are using in daily lives, or which we know the name of this kind of fuels, are given to you here in the next table. The cow dung cake, the calorific value of this cow dung cake is between 6000 to 8000 kilojoule per kg. Next is wood. For it is 17,000 to 22,000 kilojoule per kilogram. Next is for coal. It is 25,000 to 33,000. Next one is for petrol. It is 45,000. Kerosene same 45,000. Diesel it is 45,000. For methane gas it is 5,000. For CNG it is also 5,000. For LPG it is 5,500 kilojoule per kilogram. For biogas it is 35,000 to 40,000 kilojoule per kg it is given to you. Here it is 50,000, 50,000, 45,000 and 45,000 are given to you. not 44,500, but it is 45,000, 45,000 and 45,000 for petrol, kerosene and diesel. For methane gas it is 50,000, and for CNG also it is 50,000. For LPG it is 55,000. For biogas it is 35,000 to 40,000. For hydrogen it is 1,50,000 kilojoule per kg. So the lowest calorific value is of cow dung cake, that is 6,000 to 8,000 kilojoule per kg. And the highest calorific value is of hydrogen, that is 1,50,000 kilojoule per kg. So this is the value of the calorific value of the different fuels. Now next is burning of fuels leads to harmful products. How the burning of this fuel is harmful to the environment. So the increasing fuel consumption has harmful effects on the environment. The first one in that is carbon fuels like wood, coal, petroleum. They are releasing unburned carbon particles in the environment, and these fine or small, or you can say thin particles, are dangerous pollutants causing respiratory disease. They will cause the respiratory disease like asthma. So it is very harmful to us. Next one is incomplete combustion of these fuels give carbon monoxide gas, or it will release carbon monoxide gas, and it is very poisonous gas, and it is dangerous to burn coal in a closed room because it will produce the carbon monoxide gas because of the incomplete combustion, and it will kill the person which is sleeping in that room. So now Bujaho get to know that why we are advised never to sleep in a room with burning or smoldering coal. You can say smoldering, that means the process of burning of coal slowly with smoke but no flame. So that's why we are advised not to sleep in such kind of room. The next one is given to you. Third one, the disadvantage of this is combustion of most fuels releases carbon dioxide in the environment, and it will increase the concentration of carbon dioxide or the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. So it will cause the global warming. So now what is global warming is given here, that global warming is the rise in the temperature of the atmosphere of the earth. It will increase the temperature of the atmosphere of the earth, and this will result to the another things like melting of polar glaciers, that means the glaciers which are there on the poles of the earth. It will melt the glaciers, which leads to the rise in the sea level, and at the end it will cause the floods in the coastal areas, and even low lying areas may even permanently submerge or merge under with the water. So this is very harmful, the burning process of the fuels to the environment. Here one fact is given to you, that for centuries wood was used as the domestic and industrial fuel, but now it has been replaced by the coal and other fuels like LPG. But even nowadays in many rural parts of our countries, in villages, people still use wood as the fuel because of its easy availability and lower cost as compared to the other fuels. They are still using wood. However, burning of this wood gives a lot of smoke, which is very harmful for the human beings, and it causes respiratory problems that we had seen like asthma. And also they are getting this wood from the trees by cutting the trees. So these trees provide us with useful substance, so we should not cut the trees, and which are lost when the wood is used as the fuel. When we are using wood as the fuel, so we are losing this useful substance of the tree. And moreover, this cutting of the trees leads to the deforestation. Cutting of the trees on a larger scale is known as the deforestation, and which is quite harmful for the environment. That one we had learned in the class 7. The fourth one harmful effect of the burning of fuel is given here, that burning of coal and diesel releases sulfur dioxide gas, and it is extremely suffocating and corrosive gas. Corrosive, that means it corrodes, damage, or you can say destroy the objects. So it is harmful gas, and moreover these petrol engines give off or releases gaseous oxides of nitrogen, and these oxides of sulfur and nitrogen dissolves in rainwater and it forms the acids, and such rain is called acid rains. So it is very harmful for crops. This kind of acid rain is very harmful for crops, buildings and soil, and that one you had already studied in the class 7. So the use of diesel and petrol as a fuel in automobiles is being nowadays replaced by the CNG. The use of this petrol and diesel in the automobiles are nowadays replaced by the CNG, compressed natural gas, because CNG produces the less harmful products in the very small amount. So that's why CNG is also known as the cleaner fuel. So these are the things in this chapter. Now next keywords for these chapters are given to you. You have to write this in your notebook. Acid rain, first one is. Next is calorific value. Then after next is combustion. Next is deforestation. Next is explosion. Then after next one is flame. Next is fire extinguisher. Next one is fuel efficiency. Next one is global warming, ideal fuel, ignition temperature, and inflammable substance. So now let we see the summary of this chapter. In this chapter we had seen that the substance which burn in air are called combustible substance. Oxygen in air is essential for the or necessary for the combustion, and during the process of this combustion heat and light are given out or they are released. And ignition temperature is the lowest temperature at which the combustible substance catches fire. Then we had seen the inflammable substance has very low ignition temperature, so they can catch fire easily. Then after we had seen that fire can be controlled by removing one or more requirements which are essential for producing fire. Then we had seen that water is commonly used to control fires. Then after we had seen that water cannot be used to control fires involving electrical equipments or oils. The next we had seen that is there are various types of combustion such as rapid combustion, spontaneous combustion and explosion, etc. Then we had seen the different zone of the flame. There are 3 different zones of a flame, that is dark zone, luminous zone and non-luminous zone. Then after we had seen the qualities of an ideal fuel. So an ideal fuel is cheap, readily available, readily combustible and easy to transport, and it has high calorific value, and it does not produce gases or residues or left behind that pollutes the environment. Then after we had seen that fuels differ in their efficiency and cost. The fuel efficiency is expressed in the term of its calorific value, and it is expressed in the units of kilojoule per kilogram. Then after we had seen the unburned carbon particles in air are dangerous pollutants causing respiratory problems like asthma. Incomplete combustion, then after we had seen that of a fuel gives poisonous carbon monoxide gas. Then we had seen that increased percentage of carbon dioxide in air has been linked to global warming. It will cause the global warming. And at last we had seen that oxides of sulfur and nitrogen produced by the burning of coal, diesel and petrol can cause acid rain, and which is harmful for crops, buildings and soil. So these are the things we had seen in this chapter. In the next video we will solve the textbook exercise for this chapter. Thank you.